Welcome to readers, viewers, and listeners, and welcome to this special live edition of The Hot Take. So, about this weekend, there's been a lot of activity going on during this past weekend. I went to the Artists Studio Tour, which is still going on at the time of this video's creation, and at the time of this video's creation, there's also a live event that's going on as I'm recording this. That event is a spectacle, a rock and roll, but it's also something where people can get help with addiction, suicide prevention, and all of the good stuff. That place, of course, is Hope Rocks. You guys may have heard, readers and listeners may have heard me talk about it on previous versions of the Autistic SuperBlog, and I did one a couple of months ago about giving hope in times of need. But this weekend's really giving me something. It's giving me something to think about. It's giving me something to say. Even with all the writer's block, even with all the issues, the restrictions, all that stuff that we go through daily, especially with the coronavirus chaos, but it also shows us how we can overcome things. I mean, we can't overcome things by ourselves. It's just not possible. You can't do things alone and feel like it's going to be something that's going to be attainable just by talking about it. You've got to be able to do it. It's something that you really have to take into consideration when you're doing things for yourself. Realize that you can't do it by yourself. That it's just not possible. But you can do it with other people. That is what's been going on today with the rock and roll music venue known as Hope Rocks. What Hope Rocks basically is that it's a team led by a wonderful individual that shows that there is hope, even in your darkest times, myself included. I know I've dealt with that in the past before too, but I also realize that there are certain things you can do. That you could do with the help of others. Religion, of course, in the Gospels, says that I can do all things in Christ who strengthens me. But I just gave my personal version, but the point stands. We could do a lot, but we can't do it alone. We need God's grace. We need God's help. We need His grace, but we also need each other. We also need people that will help us through our paths, through our times in our lives that we go through. As St. Faustina said, the darkest times in our soul. What I'm referring to is that I've gone through certain things in my life, and I've been dealing with writer's block, as I've mentioned, and I've dealt with writer's block. I've dealt with roadblocks in my life, but the one thing I can always say without certain is that people will say, "Oh, are you a self-advocate or are you an artist?" I'm both. I am a self-advocate, but I also use my poetry to get my voice out there. But I couldn't do it by myself. It needed the help and guidance of a friend of mine, a lot of friends of mine, and one person that I really want to highlight is a friend by the name of Mikhail Horowitz, who was on the Artists Studio Tour. And I couldn't help but feel in awe of what he's been working on. I'm in awe of the person, but as he said, it's okay to be in awe at the work, but not the person. I always thought to myself that it's kind of peculiar that someone like Mick Horowitz is actually very humble. With all his humility and all his humor, he's also very humble in what he says. And he's also very wise too. And he always gave me that bit of advice this weekend, to be at the work but not the person. And it really kind of made me realize, as I was coming to Hope Rocks last night and saw Ian Flanagan, I remember seeing him, and I remember leaving that encounter, and I thought to myself, how can I compete with those giants? The thing is, I can't, and neither can we. We need help in our lives. We need people that will be there to support us. We need people. We need a community that supports us through our endeavors. Case in point, Hope Rocks, and also the Center for Spectrum Services for me, Darkman Hudson, and Grasp as well. But here's my point: we all need help in our times where we feel stuck, where we feel lost, where we feel like we can't do things by ourselves. But it's always nice to know that even when we can't do anything by ourselves, it's always great to have help. So, on that note, as you can tell, I've been walking and talking to people. On that note, I'll leave a link for Hope Rocks in the description of this video. But I wanted to do something to kind of say that I want to give this kind of hope to you guys that are dealing with issues right now. That your struggles matter. That your character matters. That your community matters. But most importantly of all, just remember that you matter. So, I'll leave the links on the relevant links below, and you can check me out on Instagram. On the Autistic Super channel on YouTube, and you can check out all these videos on the AutisticSuperBlog.wordpress.com. Hope to talk to you guys, and as always, shine on, and Hope Rocks.